episode of the Freelancers Mindset Shortcast. We are not doing an interview today. This is more of a Q&A session. Honestly, people have started getting fed up with me because just about 2 months back, I posted on my Instagram asking you all to send me your questions, and I have a list of all these questions right here, and I'm going to be answering them one by one. And man, a lot of you had questions about freelancing, especially how to get started as a freelancer. And I didn't really go through them in depth. I'm just going to be answering them as and when I see them here. So the first question that stood out to me was, how do you start as a freelancer? What was the initial phase like? So I started freelancing when I was actually in my full-time job. I wanted to have a smooth transition where I wanted to have my left leg firmly planted on the ground before I lifted my right leg up. So I was actually freelancing on the side for almost a month. And then only when I matched my full-time job salary did I turn in my papers and leave from there. So I would say if you're starting off as a freelancer, start maintaining a personal brand on LinkedIn because it will help you showcase your expertise, put some of your work out there, get some clients, build a network, build authority, and also start applying to jobs over there. And if you're in a full-time job, I would suggest try freelancing for a month or so if you're allowed to do that, and only after that you quit and come here because you need to see if this lifestyle works for you first. How was the initial phase for me? It was actually quite seamless since I had already worked for a month on it. It just felt like instead of going to a 9 to 5 job, I'm doing it from my house because I had very strict rules in place. Like I would work only from 9 to 5 as my corporate job. I wouldn't work in the weekends. I was very firm about all that. So it didn't really feel like I had even one day off actually. It just felt like I left that and I started doing this. So that's how it was for me. Okay, next question. I have no professional writing experience. How to start and get samples? Okay, so this is a question a lot of people ask me, especially on TopMate, which is a platform where I offer mentoring services. I would say if you are not a professional writer, but you are passionate about writing, start putting your work out there and gain confidence in yourself. Because unless you are confident in your own skills, you cannot go out there and pitch it to somebody else and demand that they pay you for what you're offering them. So I would say start a blog, start a paid profile on Medium and start posting there. LinkedIn, once again, is the best because LinkedIn will allow you to showcase your content, and your content itself is like an example you're giving to people. Like if you're offering social media content as a service or blogs as a service, you're trying to convince the other person that, hey, my content is interesting, people will read it from start to finish, and it's informative. And what better way to do it than to have engaging content for yourself? So people come on your LinkedIn, they see the posts you have put up, which are like informative, entertaining, engaging, thought-provoking, whatever, and they think, oh, I also want content like this. That's how I got most of my clients on LinkedIn. So put your content out there, start a Medium profile, probably start a blog over there. Start working with clients for free. That is something I always tell people because when I was in college, I interned at a lot of companies, and most of those clients I interned for free. I interned for experience, not money. And those clients that I worked with for free, I reached out to them when I started freelancing, and they were ready to work with me because they had already seen the work I do. And they thought, hey, if she does so much for free, how much would we do? How much would she do if we paid her? So I would say get some free projects like that to start with, or some very low paying projects. Initially, don't focus on money. Try asking thought leaders like, hey, can I manage your LinkedIn for a month? Can I just put content out there? Try with something low stakes like that, maybe a startup, and don't hesitate to, go out there and market yourself. Even if you're not a professional writer, no matter what you're creating, nowadays you have AI tools, you have ChatGPT, you have Claude, you have Gemini. Write your content and then you can even put it on ChatGPT and ask it like, is this grammatically correct? Or you have tools like Grammarly and Hemingway where you can see if the content is easy to read, if it's grammatically correct, if the sentences are too long. You can improve so much by doing that. Or you know what? A very underrated tip is just maintain a journal or a gratitude journal or a diary or a daily planner or something like that. Because I had a friend who has a gratitude journal, and she learned a lot of English just by writing in this journal every day. Like she wrote, I'm grateful to have a fresh hot cup of coffee every day. And she was thinking, should it be fresh comma hot or fresh hyphen hot or just fresh hot? How should it be? And she ended up Googling this and going down a rabbit hole, and she learned a lot of English grammar just by doing this. So How to become a professional writer? That is the question. Just start writing, start a newsletter, start an email series, start your own website and start posting there, start an Instagram page where you can write a lot of content. Just put your content out there and let people see what you have to offer. Next question, when is your book releasing? When can we expect that? Okay, this was a question I received 4 times. The Freelancer's Mindset is officially here. It's just going through the final round of edit, and I am expecting in another 1 week it'll be out for purchase. This is the final week, I promise you. It's a book that's all about, the mindset shifts you need to become a successful freelancer. I have also interviewed 21 other people for it. And rather than talking about how to earn more money, how to gain international clients and stuff like that, I'm talking about how you should change your mindset as a person and what should you actually strive for if you want to be a successful freelancer. Next, what is this mindset you keep on talking about? Okay, so mindset, let me give you an example. I had a friend who is a content writer, and she initially had a mindset like, I need to accept every single client that comes my way, because if I don't, if I reject even one client, I might never get any new clients. I might end up losing all my existing clients, and then I can't get new ones and I'll fail. And then at one point, she worked for this baby product client that asked her to write the FAQs for their website. And one of the questions was, can this chemical touch a baby's skin? And the answer was clearly no, because it will cause rashes, it will cause dermatological issues. Throughout the baby's life, it will have skin problems. But the client said, no, don't say that, because if you say that directly, nobody's going to buy the product. So we have to blatantly lie and say our product does not have this chemical. So that was against my friend's ethics and moral values. She didn't want to knowingly lie to the customers and blatantly give them misinformation. So at that point, she had a mindset shift, which is what I'm talking about. Till now, she was believing one track, and now her mindset shifted. And she thought, if I can work with the clients that fulfill me and align with my ethical values, I'll be more happy as a freelancer. I don't need to accept every single client that comes my way. I actually have to be choosy so that I put my energy where it is most useful. And by being selective with her clients, she started leading a more fulfilling life. When she was interviewing her clients, not only were they interviewing her to see if she is a good fit, she was also speaking to them to see if they would be a good fit to her portfolio. So you see how there is a mindset that this person had, and then an incident or a series of incidents happened, and then there was a shift. And there are many examples like this. One of my friends thought, oh my God, AI is here. That's it. My life is over. But then they used AI and their client got some benefit out of it. And they realized, hey, AI is not going to replace me. Just like that, I interviewed somebody on this shortcast. She is about 60 plus. And she, once her children went off abroad and she was married, she felt, I have nothing else to do in my life. My life is over. There's no purpose. But then she became a certified laughter coach and yoga instructor and everything. And now she's living a very fulfilled life. So all of these are mindset shifts that you have, right? By reading my book, I really hope that, you get these shifts. And through that, when you come across obstacles or problems or opportunities in freelancing, you have a different way of dealing with them. Anyway, moving on to the next question. You are showing so many people in your interviews, but have you really tried their brands? When there are big companies, why should I buy from these people? You are just promoting them for free. Okay, so I think there are 3 questions within this one question. The first being, you have interviewed so many people, but have you really tried their brands? Yes, I have. I never, first of all, I'm not promoting these people here for free. Obviously, in any interview you see, they are giving me their time, and the only thing I can give them in return is the people who come and watch my videos will get to see them as well. So have you really tried their products? Yes, I have. I'm not going to speak so highly of them and interview them unless I know how far they have come in their life. I have known them for a while. I have seen their brands grow, and I can see that these people are really working hard for it. And in some cases, I've even purchased from some friends, like the life coach I interviewed previously. I have purchased a gratitude journal. I am using it. Some people who on Instagram who I have lined up next, I have tried their scented candles, I've tried their perfumes, I've tried purchasing from their product range. I have tried their t-shirts that they sell. I have purchased some soft toys from them. I have even, in terms of services, I have spoken to a therapist previously. I have invested in somebody's digital marketing services. I have inquired with somebody about their email marketing services. I have 100% either directly worked with or know somebody who worked with these people. The third question being, when there are big companies out there, why should I buy from them? I think you need to purchase from these people because these small businesses are literally the future these days. Because rather than buying from a big established brand, I see a lot of people turning to such stores. I'll give you an example. I recently purchased hot chocolate from an Instagram based business. I initially used to buy hot chocolate wholesale from a different supermarket I used to go to. But when I had problems there with the quality and everything, I didn't have much redressal. If I went to the supermarket, they would say, okay, if the product is damaged or the best before date is bad, I mean, past it, then I can do something for you. But if you don't like the taste or you feel the components are not good, there's not much we can do because we didn't make the product. Whereas when I purchased from this Instagram business, when I messaged them on Instagram saying, hey, where's my parcel? It's missing. Within 20 minutes, I got a reply and they actually called me. They gave me a discount code and everything. I really believe that small businesses have a much more human element and a better sense of contact with their customers. Since they are a small business and they are trying to grow and they are aspiring companies, they will try harder to retain their clients, and that way they respect you more, they give you more. You get to speak one on one with them, you get to see what their process is like. I think small businesses and online services are the future rather than seeing all these big brands. Yes, you keep paying them, you keep adding to their profit, you keep adding to their success, but if you buy from small businesses, you're helping the economy grow, you're helping new generation people build something and help create more innovative ideas. And once they go from startups and solo businesses to larger businesses, they start hiring more people, and I think society and the economy also grow along with them. Okay, so the last question for today is, how do you handle a client leaving you suddenly? How to handle that financial loss? Okay, I'll tell you this in two ways. The first suggestion I can give you, which is what I personally do, is I have one or two big high ticket clients, but I mostly focus on smaller clients. This is something I've also said in my book, where I've said it is easier to recover from the loss of a small client than a big client. Imagine you're getting 1 lakh rupees from one client as a package every month, and then they suddenly leave, as this person has asked. It will be hard to recover from that loss. But imagine you're earning 20,000 from a client or 7,000 from a client, and all these little drops are forming together to give you a big income. If you lose that 7,000 client, you can very easily replace them and get a client for 20K. I remember doing that, where I lost a client for 7K, but then I got another one just 2 days later for like 14 or 15,000. So it's not about losing that client, it's about how fast you can bounce back, because as a freelancer you are going to keep losing clients. That's like an everyday thing. So I don't think it's about suddenly losing a client. That has happened way too many times for me. It's a reality you just have to accept as a freelancer. But how to bounce back from that is, you have a contract set with them where you say, hey, I need so much time notice. Like usually when I'm fixing my contract with clients, where I'm telling them, hey, this is the budget, this is so and so, I also have one line mention. It need not even be a specific clause or a particular document you send them. It can even be the mail you send them registering that you're working with them. And you say, once you decide to terminate our agreement, I need to have at least 15 days to recover from this. And I need, like, because there were times when clients would like try to downsize their employees, and the very first person they downsize is of course the freelancer. So they think, if I let this girl work till the end of the month, I have to pay her full salary. Let me cut her right here at 15 days into the month so that I pay only half. Because for other employees it's like salary based, but for me it will be like what work I did till now, so they just stop giving me work or something like that. So I would suggest have a contract or something like that where you mention a notice period so that they don't leave you suddenly, and try to have more smaller niche companies rather than one large company. I know some people who have like two clients and they have like each client paying them 1.5 lakhs, so they earn 3 lakhs per month. And then I know other people who have 7 or 8 clients, and each of these clients give them like 10,000, 20,000. Even if you lose one, you still get the income from others. So I would say diversify your income, have a lot more clients, and make it, you have gotten this question in your mind that how to recover from that sudden loss. So work with that in your mind. Never get attached to any of your clients. Just, I used to get very attached to some clients, and then they would just leave me the next day. They would be like, family, family. And then the next day they'll be like, we don't want you anymore. So don't get attached to anybody. Don't trust anybody, honestly speaking. Be friends with your clients, but just treat it like this friend could leave me tomorrow. And what do I do to protect myself? Just think in that sense, and I think you'll be good to go. So that's all the questions we have for today. There are a lot more, but I am mostly messaging these people personally, either on LinkedIn or on Instagram. If you have any questions, you can leave them there. Or I also get some questions in my YouTube videos and I directly answer them there. Or I ask my interviewees to answer the questions there so that it's more authentic. So do let me know, keep dropping in your questions, and I hope you found these useful. And see you in the next one.